right, good morning and welcome to Victory Faith today. We're so excited that you're here. I want to first welcome all of you guys who are here. Isn't it an awesome day to be in church today? It is warm outside. It's beautiful. We're not going to be here super long, and we're going to be able to go back outside and have a good day. I also want to welcome all of the people who are joining us online. You are a part of this church too, and we thank you for hanging out with us today. You can interact in the online forum there with our awesome team. I want to share with you a message today that has been impacting to me over the last 7 years or so. This concept of being a life-giving church is so important to me, and that is who we want to be. That is our goal. Are we there yet? Maybe not. We may not be perfect. We may never be perfect. But our goal is to be a life-giving church. But we have to be able to look at who the life giver is first. And we're going to look at Jesus as the life giver today. We're in this series called Kingdom Come. It's so important to know that we aren't just waiting for our ticket to heaven right now. We aren't just waiting to go to heaven and enter into his kingdom. Because when Jesus came to this earth, he brought his kingdom to us, and it is with us right now. So you can enter into that kingdom right now. Number one today, I'm going quick, right into the numbers. If you have your notes, we have awesome bulletins that we have for you guys, and you can follow along with our notes there. Number one is share the life-giving news of Jesus. Mark 5:1-19 says, they arrived at the other side of the lake at the region of Gerasenes. I don't know. As Jesus stepped ashore, a demon-possessed madman came out of the graveyard and confronted him. How many of us know that would be very fun, right? The man had been living there among the tombs of the dead, and no one was able to restrain him, not even with chains. Okay, so this guy is strong. For every time they attempted to chain his hands and feet with shackles, he would snap the chains and break the shackles in pieces. He was so strong that no one had the power to subdue him. Day and night, he could be found lurking in the cemetery, very creepy, but okay, let's go, or in the vicinity, shrieking and mangling himself with stones. Okay, let's keep going. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran to him and threw himself down before him. Okay, this guy is powerful, he's strong. You just have to recognize here, he knew who Jesus was, right? And he just came and he threw himself down before him, screaming out the top of his lungs, "Leave me alone, Jesus, Son of the Most High God. I swear in God's name that you won't torture me." For Jesus already said to him, "Come out of that man, for you demon spirit." Verse 9. Jesus said to him, "What is your name?" "Mob," he answered. "They call me Mob because there are thousands of him." Basic, that word mob, you see legion in the other translations. It means an army of demons. Okay, so that is why he's so strong physically. This is because there were thousands of demons inside of him, thousands of us in his body. He begged Jesus repeatedly not to expel them out of the region. Nearby, there was a large herd of pigs, yummy, feeding on the hillside. I don't know why I said that. The demons begged him, "Send us into the pigs, let us enter them." So, bacon's why I said that. Okay. Bacon. So, verse 13 says, so Jesus gave them permission, and the demon horde immediately came out of the man and went into the pigs. This just shows the power of Jesus. It's the life-giving nature of Jesus. This should bring comfort to us. I mean, who doesn't have something crazy going on in their life right now, to some degree? This is it right here. This caused the herd to rush madly down the steep slope and fall into the lake, drowning about 2,000 pigs. Now the herdsmen fled the nearby villages, telling everyone what they saw as they ran through the countryside, and everyone came out to see what had happened. Jesus always does this. Every time he does something, everyone wants to see. Everyone wants to see what's going on. Verse 15, when they found Jesus, they saw the demonized man sitting there. They all knew who this guy was, and they knew who he was and what he did. This was not someone they wanted to be around, but this is what happens. They found him, clothed and in his right mind, seeing what had happened to the man who had thousands of demons. the people were terrified. Those who had witnessed this miracle reported the news to the people and included what happened to the pigs. Then they asked Jesus to leave their region. You basically have two options with Jesus. You can accept him as God, or you can push him away. He is going to do miracles, miraculous things in your life, and it will seem uncomfortable at times, but we have a decision. You are either accepting his full nature and saying, "Come into me," or you are pushing him away. And this is what they decided to do. And Jesus began to get into the boat to depart. Now, this is the best part. The man who had been set free from demons asked him, "Can I go with you?" That's the only answer when something like this happens. And Jesus says no, but said to him, "Go back to your home and to your family and tell them what the Lord has done for you. Tell them how he had mercy on you." This is a quote that I want you to read. When we experience the life change that happens, for you, Jesus, we need to share it with everyone around us. And that's what this man wanted to do. He wanted to follow Jesus. He wanted to be one of the disciples and follow him along. But what happened is Jesus says to him in verse 20, "So the man left and went to the region of Jordan and parts of Syria to tell everyone he met about what Jesus had done. And they all marveled at what happened." He didn't know Jesus probably even like you do. But he knew Jesus because that man, that God, came and took those demons out of him and gave him life and gave him the opportunity to do this. And now he wants to devote his entire life to him. It doesn't say this, but it's basically saying he was the missionary to that community. He was the person who shared the good news of Jesus to that entire region because they kicked Jesus out. But now he allowed that man to stay. He had a plan and a purpose, and he told him to stay. Number 2 is experience the life-giving miracles of Jesus. So we're going to keep going. This is right after in the Bible. This is directly after what just happened. Mark 5:21 through 43 says, "After Jesus returned from across the lake, a huge crowd of people," every single time, guys, a huge crowd of people quickly gathered around him on the shoreline. Just then, a man saw that it was Jesus. So he pushed through the crowd, threw himself at his feet, and said his name was Jairus, a Jewish official who was in charge of the synagogue. He pleaded with Jesus, saying over and over, "Please come with me. My little daughter is at the point of death." He already knew who Jesus was. He knew what Jesus possessed. He knew that Jesus was the answer. "Please come with me. My little daughter is at the point of death, and she's only 12 years old. Come and lay your hands on her and heal her, and she will live." That's faith. Verse 24, Jesus went with him, and the huge crowd followed, pressing in on from all sides. Can you imagine? He's just walking through, and like everyone is just around him, pushing in. Verse 25, now in the crowd that day was a woman who had suffered horribly from continual bleeding for 12 years. She had endured a great deal under the care of various doctors, yet in spite of spending all she had on their treatment, she was not getting any better, but worse. When she heard about Jesus' healing power, she pushed through the crowd and came up and touched his prayer shawl. For she kept saying to herself, "If only I could touch his clothes, I know I would be healed. All I need to do is get there. I just need to get to Jesus, and I know I can be healed." As soon as her hand touched him, her bleeding immediately stopped. She knew it, for she could feel her body instantly being healed of her disease. Jesus knew at once that someone had touched him, for he felt the power that always surged around him and had passed through him for someone to be healed. He turned and spoke to the crowd. "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples answered, "What do you mean, who touched you? Look at this huge crowd. They're all pressing around against you." Jesus' eyes swept across the crowd, looking at the one who had touched him for healing. When the woman who experienced this miracle realized what had happened to her, she came before him, trembling with fear, and threw herself down at his feet, saying, "I was the one who touched you." And she told him her story that just happened. And this is where we can come in here too. Then Jesus said to her, "Daughter, because you dared to believe, your faith has healed you. Go with peace in your heart and be free from your suffering." Jesus is the miracle worker. He's the healer. He's the one who can do all of this. Verse 35, and before he had finished speaking, people arrived from Jairus' house and pushed through the crowd to give Jairus the news. "There's no need to trouble the master any longer. Your daughter has died." But Jesus refused to listen to what they were told and said to the Jewish official, "Don't yield to fear. All you need to do is to keep believing." So they left for his home, but Jesus didn't allow anyone to go with them except Peter and two brothers, Jacob and John. When they arrived at the home of the synagogue ruler, they encountered a noisy uproar from the people, for they were all weeping and wailing. Upon entering the home, Jesus said to them, "Why all this grief and weeping? Don't you know this girl is not dead, but merely asleep?" Then everyone began to ridicule and make fun of him. But he threw them all outside. Jesus is always doing this stuff. He just does stuff that we don't think of. Like, okay, throw them outside. He took the child's father and mother and his 3 disciples, and he went into the room where the girl was lying. He tenderly clasped the child's hand in his hand and said in Aramaic, I don't speak Aramaic, so you can see it on the screen, which means, "Little girl, wake up from the sleep of death." Instantly, the 12-year-old girl sat up, stood to her feet, and started walking around the room. Everyone was overcome with astonishment in seeing this miracle. Jesus had them bring her something to eat, and he repeatedly cautioned them that they were told to tell no one about what happened. Now, Jesus does this back and forth thing where he's saying, go tell everyone, just like he did in this passage right before that. And then this one, he's saying, don't tell anyone. So I'm reading commentaries, trying to figure this out. Like, why does he do this? Sometimes there are times like this situation where there is like an uncontrollable crowd already, and he's saying you don't need to tell anyone else because the word's already out. Like, I'm God, people know this. We need to control this crowd. He is a God of order, okay? And he doesn't think we need to continue to put the wood on the fire. Now, other times, there are times where Jesus is saying go and tell everyone, just like he did before, because the people had pushed him out of there, and if that one person didn't go through and share everything, then they would not be able to know about who Jesus was. And so that is kind of the gist of what is going on here, because it is confusing if you see passages that say, go share, don't share, go share, don't share. It's confusing. Jesus is giving life to people. He is literally raising people from the dead. He is taking demons out of people. He is giving healing to people in awesome ways. And now we're going to go into one of the greatest passages in all the Bible, chapter 6. But point number 3 is trust Jesus, the life giver. Jesus is here to give you life. He is here to give you more of what you have. Life. He wants to give you abundant life, a whole and full life. He wants to give you everything that he possibly can to make this life exactly what it was supposed to be. Mark 6:7 says, Jesus gathered his 12 disciples and imparted them his authority to cast out demons, and that includes you now. Then he sent them out in pairs with these instructions. Take only your staff and the sandals on your feet, no bread, no knapsack, no extra garment, no money, okay? Don't take it all. That doesn't make sense to us, right? We're like, okay, I like to plan, I like to do everything, okay? This is saying, listen to Jesus. He will make it work. And whatever house you enter, stay there until you leave that area. Whatever community does not welcome you or receive your message, leave it behind. Jesus is on mission. He's like, we're going to communities. If they kick us out, we're not going to fight about it. We are going to leave, and we're going to go to the next community. That is what the mindset of someone who is on mission is. I'm not going to sit here and argue and do all this stuff. If you don't want to be a part of it, then that's okay. It doesn't say anything about you or me. It just, if you don't want it, then go. I'm going to continue on. Whatever community does not welcome you or receive the message, leave it behind. And as you go, shake off the dust of your feet as a testimony against them. Verse 12, so they went out and preached publicly that everyone should repent. They cast out many demons and anointed many sick people with oil and healed him. Jesus uses his followers, number 4, to conduct life-giving miracles. He is going to use you to do life-giving miracles in other people's lives. Sometimes they're going to be praying for someone and you're going to see a miraculous healing. Sometimes you're going to bring food to someone who is having a very difficult season, and you're going to be a piece of a life-giving miracle in their life. You are going to bring life to them by being there for them. Some of you have different gifts to bring to the table to be life-giving to other people. Mark 6:33 through 38. But many of the people saw them leaving and realized where they were headed. So they took off, running along the shore. Then people from the surrounding towns joined them in the chase, and a large crowd got there ahead of them. By the time Jesus came ashore, a massive crowd was waiting. Again, just everyone wanted Jesus. Everyone wanted him. At the sight of them, his heart was filled with compassion because they seemed like wandering sheep who had no shepherd. So he taught them many things. Late that afternoon, his disciples said, it's getting really late, and here we go. This is it, guys. Pay attention to what's said here. Late that afternoon, his disciples said, it's getting really late, and we're here in this remote place with nothing to eat. Okay? So they obviously did some things without planning every single thing to the T, and so here's the disciples starting to freak out, and they forget, okay, we have God right next to us, right? We all do this. Like, I got God in my life, and I'm still stressing about this thing that's happening in my life. It happens to us too. It's getting really late. So you should send the crowd. This is the disciples telling Jesus what to do, okay? Who does that? You should send the crowds away so they can go into the surrounding villages and buy food for themselves. That makes perfect sense, right? It's like we don't have enough money to pay for everybody, okay? But we can let them go buy their own food and take care of it. That's not what Jesus wanted to do, though. That's just not what he wanted to do. And so you just let Jesus do what he wants to do. And Jesus says in verse 37, but he answered them, you give them something to eat. And I could see myself, because I'm a planner, like, huh? Like, what? Okay. And they say, are you sure? They replied, you really want us to, and they go right to buying them supper, right? I don't use the word supper, I use dinner, but whatever. It would cost a small fortune to feed all these thousands of hungry people. You can imagine trying to feed thousands of people. Probably $10 a person, too much. Verse 38, and this is, if you follow Jesus, you're going to be stretched. You are constantly going to be stretched. How many loaves of bread do you have? He asked. Go and see. So after they looked around, they came back with 5 loaves and a couple of fish. And you can't even imagine. I'm thinking if you let's say we put on a conference for 2,000 people, right? And we don't plan for food. We don't have some Chick-fil-A, some of that Jesus chicken in here. We don't plan on food, right? And we just, and maybe that's sometimes what God wants to do. He wants us to wait and allow him to do the miracle. But he comes back with these 5 loaves, and my point here is Jesus gives us the ability to work through emergencies. And I don't think I've ever thought of it this way or read it this way, but he gives us the ability to work through your emergencies. You may have something incredibly difficult going on in your life right now. And if you're like me, you try to think through all the different scenarios and options and all this stuff, and it brings you to a point of just desperation and stress. And you just can't be there, because Jesus is the one who will supply what is needed in the situation. Verse 39 says, then he instructed them to organize the crowd, a God of order, and have them sit in groups on the grass. So they had them sit in group of hundreds and fifties. This was not easy. It just wasn't easy. This is a difficult scenario. He did a miracle. We mostly just think about Jesus feeding the 5,000, like, wow, that's awesome. But there were details inside of this thing that had to happen to feed these people. Organizing, getting the food, coming up with a plan, all this stuff. And B, Jesus works through us in spite of our inadequacies. I am a flawed, broken human being, but only by the grace of God are these things able to happen. I know who I am, and I don't deserve half of the things that he's given me. And you probably know who you are, and you think, well, how did I get here? He will work in you and through you despite your inadequacies. And maybe I even say because of them. God shows his strength through our weaknesses. Your weaknesses are the point where he can show his greatest strength, because he knows and you know where your weaknesses are, and he can continue to work through you. Again, verse 41, then Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, gazed into heaven, gave thanks to God, his Father. He wasn't talking to himself there. He broke the bread and the 2 fish and distributed, I can never pronounce that word, I'm sorry, them to his disciples to serve the people, and the food was multiplied in front of their eyes. So this is the way it's happening. Jesus has the food with him in a basket or whatever, and he's handing this to them, and it's multiplying as he's handing it to them. It's multiplying as he's giving it to them. Then the 12 disciples picked up what remained. Well, back to verse 42. Everyone had plenty to eat and was fully satisfied. Everyone had plenty to eat. Thousands of people, and he fed them all. Verse 43, then the 12 disciples picked up what remained. He picked up what remained, and each of them ended up with a basket full of leftovers. Altogether, 5,000 families were fed that day. So probably 15,000 people at least. Jesus will always provide more than enough. So not only does he meet the needs that we have, he doesn't just barely meet the needs, but he also has more than enough. He gives you more than enough. And the first thing that comes to my mind right now is, maybe you're at the end of a pay period and you've got negative $9 in your checking account. And I hope that doesn't hit home with you guys, but if that happens, and you've continually trusted in God with everything that you have to believe and you have to know that he is going to take care of you. He is there to take care of you. He is going to give you more than enough. Now, will he direct deposit $900 into your checking account? Probably not. But he will give you more than enough. I'm not saying he can't and he won't, but probably not. But he will give you more than enough. Just as a practical example, he gives you a church of people, right? He gives you a family. Hey, if I've got negative $9 in my account, I have 2 kids at home, and I want to speak directly to people right now. I want you to hear this. I have negative $9 in my account. I have 2 kids at home. I have no food in my refrigerator. Humility. Allow yourself to come to your church, the people who love you, your small group. Let's feed those kids, okay? He will give you more than enough. He will give you more than enough. He is right there for you. You are planted in a church. You are in a community. There's no reason you can't speak to someone in your small group about something like that. He will give you more than enough. Number 5, Jesus will give you life in the middle of your storm, and this is a literal storm. Mark 6:45 through 49. After everyone had their meal, this is directly after, Jesus instructed could you imagine this day, by the way? Like one right after another. This is just crazy. Verse 45, after everyone had their meal, Jesus instructed his disciples to get back into the boat and go ahead of him and sail to the other side of Bethsaida. So he dispersed the crowd and said goodbye to his disciples and slipped away to pray on the mountain. So he's up on the mountain there in the water. As night fell, the boat was in the middle of the lake, and Jesus was alone on land. The wind was against the disciples, and he could see that they were straining at the oars. So he could see them where they were, trying to make headway. I just picture God up there kind of, this is specifically Jesus on a mountain kind of giggling at these guys. Not like, he doesn't make fun of you, but he's just laughing at this, and then he's going down there and taking care of these guys. When it was almost morning, Jesus came to them, walking on the surface of the water, and he started to pass by them. Like, how crazy is this stuff? Jesus feeds all these people, he heals these people, and then these disciples are going to where they need to be, where Jesus told them to go. And then he comes down, and I kind of just picture it in a funny way. He's just like, hey, but that's not what he's doing. But it's fun. It's interesting to think about this when you read it, though, because Jesus comes through when storms happen. Now, he could have easily just said, okay, I'm going to, make sure that the storm never happened. I'm going to make sure that these guys have no problems along the way and just, give them a perfect road to go to. He could have parted the water in half and just let them walk through. But that's not what he does. There's a free will in this world. He allows us to walk through life, but he's saying when the storms are happening, he's right there with you. And that is the confidence that we can go into life with. Jesus will comfort our fears. He will comfort our fears. He wants to take care of you. He wants to comfort you. So if the storm is happening around you, right now, you need to know that he is wanting to comfort your fears right now. Mark 6:51. Then he came closer. He climbed into the boat with them, and immediately the stormy wind became still. They were completely and utterly overwhelmed with astonishment because they failed to learn the lesson of the miracles of the loaves, and their hearts were unwilling to learn the lesson. The second part, the B to this, is we need to watch out for small faith and unresponsive hearts. When we get into life situations, when we go through difficult scenarios, where is your faith set at? Where is your heart set at? Are you responding to God with your difficulties, or are you looking at what's happening and allowing it to give you fear? I'm here to tell you today that Jesus wants to do amazing miracles in you and through you, but it might not always be the one that you think that's going to happen. Just like the disciples were looking at the food, and they said, well, let's just send them all off, okay? Well, then there could have been multiple miracles that happened in that scenario. Jesus could have let them go and, all of that stuff, and they could have kept teaching. Or he could have just miraculously gave, thousands and thousands of dollars to buy the food. There are multiple scenarios and multiple ways God can do this work, but we have to be reverent enough to allow God to do the miracle without us expecting what we think he's going to do. There is part, we have to have faith. We have to have faith in God. God is the miracle worker, not us. He will do the work. He will do it. It's our dependency on him. We have to give him our faith. God, we trust you. Whether I say this a lot in my own head, I think, whether I die or not. Like death could be the worst possible thing that could happen in a lot of scenarios. Whether I die or not, I will serve you. Whether you heal me or not, I will serve you. That is the faith that the Bible is talking about. We have to allow him to do the work. We believe that he will bring the work. We believe that he will do the work in our lives. And I believe that there are many of you out here today who you need to experience God's work in your life. You need to allow God to work in your life without expecting a certain thing to happen. Allow him to work through you and in your heart today. Allow him to bring healing to your life today. He wants to do that. And I want to pray for you guys right now. God, I thank you so much for this awesome, awesome church. I thank you for these people who have so much love for you. And I ask that you would just speak to them right now, that their eyes and their ears would be open to hear what it is that you have to say to them, to their spirit, Lord. And I ask that today you would speak to them, God. I know that there are people here today who need you so desperately right now, including myself. I ask that you would just speak to us today, Lord, that we would listen to what it is that you want to do, Lord, that we would obey whatever it is that you want to do today, God. Help us to be a humble person. Help us to be not humiliated, but humbled in your presence, Lord. We thank you for everything that you're doing here today. And if you're here today and everyone's praying with me right now with their eyes closed, and you are ready to take that step in your faith relationship with Jesus, and that is what you want to do today. I want to give you an opportunity to just pray a prayer with me and let me know that that's what you want to do, if you want to allow Jesus to come into your life and become the king of your life. So I'm going to make it really easy. I'm going to count to 3 and then just allow you to raise your hand, and then I'll pray for you. 1, 2, 3. If that's you today, would you just raise your hand so I can see you? We thank you. Thank you. Would everyone pray with me as a sign of confession to God? Jesus, I make you the king of my life. I give you everything that I am. I make you the Lord of everything. I love you, Jesus. In your name.